Hey everyone, welcome back to the Amanda Exclusivo. I have been looking forward to having this guest on for such a long time. Literally, I am like his biggest fan and I love him. That's right, I'm talking about the one and only Carson Kressley. Roll it.
Greetings, loved ones. Let's take a trip.
It's time for
Amanda Exclusivo.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Amanda Exclusivo. I am here with one of my all-time favorites, Carson Kressley.
Oh,
Hi,
you're
Carson.
too nice. Hi, how are you?
I'm great now. How are you?
Good, good. I'm outside. The sun is shining. I'm still alive. It's all good.
I'm jealous. I'm jealous that you're in LA now. How is life on the farm? I know you were there most of your quarantine. So
I was working on this show for Freeform called The Bold Type, which I think it's airing soon and on Freeform Network. That was in March, and that was just starting to wrap, and then things were getting crazy, and they were like, oh, the border's getting closed. You've got to go home. So I flew to New York, and I was like, I'll get a bag. I'll go to the farm for a couple of weeks, and then I'll come back when it's all over. Fast forward to 4 months later. This is the first time I've left the farm since March, and now it's July, 20 something. Yeah, it was great. There were good things. I mean, obviously it was a scary time, and it was lots of bad things happening in the world, but I really tried to, look for the silver lining. I spent a lot of time with my family. I got to kind of really take care of myself and do self-care and like get my vitamins
That's
and like
great.
eat properly, and just try to, kind of view it as a break to reset and reprioritize.
Seems
So
like you were with your horses a lot too. So
that's one of my, my biggest passion and my
I know.
real thing that I love in life. So that was a blessing too, that I got to spend more time with them. I normally don't get to have that much time to either train or compete or spend time with like newborn babies. So that was really fun.
Aw, I'm sure you miss the horses now, being in LA.
I do. I try to ride when I'm out here. And there's a couple of stables that are wonderful in Los Angeles. I'm actually, because I have a lot of downtime while I'm here, I'm going to start riding lessons in a different kind of discipline and try to learn something new while I'm here.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So I'm just curious, what made you go from riding horses to entering the entertainment industry?
It was a total accident. I mean, there is a through line, because in between those two things, I worked for Ralph Lauren.
I
And
know, I can tell by the shirt too.
yeah, I had a great, college experience. I went to Gettysburg College. I have a liberal arts degree. The economy when I graduated was not great. I started working for the U.S. Equestrian Federation, which is kind of like, the NFL, but for horse sports.
Right, right.
And it was great. And I did that for a couple years, but eventually, like living in New York City, I was just like, I would love to have some money to buy some shoes. So maybe I should not have a nonprofit job. So because I knew so much about horses and the equestrian world, I was just like, I should work for Ralph Lauren. I mean, their logo was a little man on a horse. So of course I,
Right.
would be a great fit there, which was ridiculous. But I did. I got a job there, and I worked for Ralph Lauren's brother, Jerry. And I was kind of his assistant and scheduler. And it was like The Devil Wears Prada, except everyone was very nice
I love that
and,
movie.
and very preppy. So it was a great education. I loved working for Ralph Lauren. I worked there for 7 years. I climbed the ranks. I learned so much that I still use in showbiz and just in everyday life about, a sense of urgency and attention to detail, a commitment to excellence, all of those things I learned at Ralph Lauren. And then one day at Ralph Lauren, somebody said, oh, have you heard about this show they're casting? It's called Queer Eye, and it's on Bravo. And I was like, what's Bravo, a nonstick cooking spray? Back then, they weren't owned by NBC. They were in Jericho, Long Island. They were a very small arts network that had Inside the Actors Studio, which was amazing.
I love
And
at the actor studio. I do watch that.
yeah, and James Lipton was an incredible interviewer. And then they, ran reruns of operas and art films. So I didn't really know much about Bravo, but I said, hey, yeah, I'll go and do this. I've always been like a bit of a risk taker. And like every Wednesday for like 2 weeks, I had to go to castings and they would try different people with me. And they were actually very, very good about how they cast the show, making sure that we really had chemistry between the 5 of us. So that went on for a while. Then we made a pilot in Boston in 2002. Honestly, I kind of forgot all about it and thought, nothing's going to happen. I took some vacation days to make the pilot. My boss was like, yeah, go have fun. And a year passed. And then in March or something, the next year they said, Bravo has been purchased by NBC and Universal. And they really love this show. And they want to kind of, rebuild Bravo around this show. And you need to quit your job. And I was like, do you even have dental insurance? It was such a crazy proposition because I had a great job that I loved. By that point, I was a creative director and I was traveling to all of the photo shoots and styling the shows and going to Milan and
that sounds
doing
really
the runway shows. So I had a great job, but I also had a great boss who said, you know what, it sounds like an amazing opportunity for you. Why don't you give it a try? And if it doesn't work out, we'll hire you back. Right. So thank you, Liz Paley. And that's how I got into showbiz. Yeah, that's how it all happened.
And I know it was just recently the Queer Eye anniversary. Do you still keep in touch with everybody?
Yeah, this was the original Queer Eye debuted, I believe it was like July 15th, 2003. So that was 17 years ago. Oh my God. And yeah, we're all, the original cast and I are all on like a common, what do you call that? Like a text thread or whatever, a group text. Right. We're all in a group chat.
Yeah. That's so
and whenever anything is going on, we update each other. Like Kyan is getting his real estate license. We're like, oh my God, that's gonna be amazing. That's how we find out about those things, is that we're, on this group text together. And then we just did the Family Feud episode this summer.
I saw that. That was awesome. I watched you. I was so excited for you. I'm like, I have to support Carson.
Thank you. And so we see each other, not as much as we'd like, but we are in touch a lot.
I figured, because you all seemed really close, and I have watched some episodes of the show, and I can tell your chemistry, everything is just, it's great. So congratulations on your Queer Eye anniversary.
Thank you.
And I also want to touch base on one of my other favorite things that you do, and that is RuPaul's Drag Race. So how did you get involved in that?
Again, it was serendipitous, and I have been a fan of the show. Also, like in showbiz, like if anybody is watching and they want to work in entertainment or really any business, it's all about relationships and like networking and knowing people. And I used to really like kind of cringe at that, and I'd be like, oh, I'm not schmoozy, but it's not schmoozing. It's about building relationships and,
absolutely,
and knowing people and having a point of contact and being comfortable. I oftentimes say yes to shows that people are like, oh, why did you do that? And I'm just like, I don't know. It sounded like fun and I wasn't busy. So one of those shows was a show for Game Show Network called Skin Wars. And it was about body painting. And I was like, I'm free. I'll go do that. One of the co-hosts was RuPaul. He was one of the permanent judges. And the host of the show was Rebecca Romaine. And I arrived on set and did the walkthrough with the contestants like you do on a reality show, checking in, seeing what their plan is. And I did that part with Ru, and he was just, why haven't you done my show? And I said, well, I would love to. And he said, I think we've asked you. And I said, oh my gosh, I don't know that they told me, or there was some kind of, wires crossed, and I was like mortified. And literally like 2 days later, I have a message on my phone saying, hey, Carson, it's Ru. We really want you to do the show. And I still have that voicemail saved. Like, you save special voicemails. But it was, again, one of those serendipitous things where somebody said, oh, you should do this. And I said yes to something, and it led to something else. And now I've been doing Drag Race season 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 for 7 years.
Oh, my God. What's it like working with Ru? Is he just as fun as he is on TV?
Yeah, I mean, I've had the privilege of working with some really spectacular people like Oprah or Dolly Parton or
amazing.
I don't know, but he's up there in that realm of just super enlightened people that have been working in showbiz for a long time. They like to have fun. They like to get the job done. So we're simpatico that way. I have so much respect for Ru. He's created an empire in so many ways, and I'm thrilled to be a part of exposing the artistry of drag and drag culture to a mainstream audience.
Absolutely. What do you love about the drag culture that keeps you coming back to RuPaul every season?
Well, it's fun. And, I moved to New York City in the 90s. And, one of the first things as a young gay person, when you would go out to clubs, was that you would see different drag shows. And there were places in the East Village, like the Pyramid Club and Boy Bar and all these
I've heard of
tiny
it, yes.
hole-in-the-wall places where you would see amazing drag shows. And it's amazing entertainment. So what I like about drag is that it has a sense of humor. It can be political. It can be glamorous. It can be campy. It can be super chic. It's all of those things, and you never know what you're going to get. And probably my favorite thing about drag is that usually, many times, it's quite comedic.
I love that aspect of it. And the lip sync battles, everything. It's so much fun.
It really is. It really is. It combines all the things that I love, which is like hair, makeup, fashion, comedy, singing, dancing. And I think that's why people love the show too, because the contestants have to master all of these different things that are all based on things that Ru had to do at some point in his career, whether it's act or sing or dance. So it's so fun to be part of that process.
Do you get to help out with the fashion aspect of the show?
No, the contestants really have to bring what they think is going to wow us. If there's a maxi challenge where I'm kind of the coach for that day, I could say to one of the contestants, like, oh, maybe you should think about this or think about that. But
right.
I can only kind of coach them on those days when I'm helping them with the challenge. Otherwise, I just show up and I see the runway and it's completely unbiased. I'm just like, okay, the category was, Antarctica extravaganza eleganza. And I just have to say, well, either you brought it or you didn't. And then kind of, rank the gals as to who nailed the challenge the best and who, all the way down to who did the worst.
Oh my gosh. I love watching the show, and I love when he says extravaganza. It's so fun. I love the whole vibe, and it's one of my favorite shows to watch. I know the finale is coming up. Are you excited for that?
Yes, All Stars. I think this is All Stars 5. We are, up down to I think the top 3. So we're going to have a finale very soon. I love All Stars because it gives some of our favorite queens a second chance. And a lot of times their first time, they're either overwhelmed by, it's a lot. They're overwhelmed by the competition, or maybe they've never left their hometown before, or maybe, they just weren't ready. Sometimes you're just, you think you're ready, and then you get to the competition and you're just like, gosh, I should have worked on this more, or I just needed more life experience. And All Stars gives these queens an opportunity to come back a second time after their experience, and they've gone through the show and they've been on tour and they really know what they're doing. And oftentimes they'll come back and they'll really let us have it, because they've grown so much since their season. And I love seeing that. I think that's one of the things we love as reality TV viewers, is to watch people transform.
Absolutely. No, I love it. And I love seeing former queens come back and, lip sync for their life. It's so fun to watch. And their fashion is amazing. And I know you are obsessed with fashion. So what's your favorite trends? What do you love about fashion?
Oh, fashion. I mean, I've always loved fashion because I feel like it is like a costume that you put on, and it's how you're going to interact with the world that day. And I'm not very fashionable today, but
I love the shirt though, Carson. I do.
Thank you. I do like a bit of color, but I love the power of fashion because it is so transformative, and it really, everybody knows that when they wear their favorite jeans, or when a guy wears like an amazing suit, or when you wear your favorite, going out outfit, it makes you feel either, more beautiful or more powerful or smarter. I know that sounds insane, but
no.
Clothing affects how you feel and how you carry yourself through the world. it's such an important tool. And I love it. And then there's also the artistry. I love fashion history and, going back to, the courts of Versailles or the 1970s with YSL, or the 90s with Tom Ford. There's just, like any other art, there's great history that surrounds it. So I love that aspect as well.
No, I love your fashion sense and I love your fashion taste. What's one of your favorite outfits that you've ever worn?
Oh, that's a great question.
You had so many good looks, and I want to know what's Carson's go-to look or no-go look.
Oh, well, some of my favorites, I mean, I do love a sparkly, glitzy, like amazing jacket. And there's a designer in Sweden. His name is Lars Wallin. And he designs for like the king and queen of Sweden. And my stylist that I was working with, and who's a great friend of mine, she's like, oh, you should try something. And he made me a jacket that's like black satin and it's embroidered with parrots all over it. It is so gorgeous. It's like wearing like a Rolls Royce. Like when you put it on, you're just like, oh my gosh, this feels like so luxurious. So I love that. And then also like one of my go-tos is just a fantastic pair of jeans and like a white button down, like, cotton worn in Oxford and a pair of, great loafers and a good watch. Like it can be very simple.
No, the simple look is usually what I do too. I just throw in like a nice shirt, pair of jeans, and a cool pair of espadrilles or something.
Right. Yeah. If you give it one, I think you can dress very basic and very classically, and then you have one or two wow items. So for ladies, it could be shoes or your handbag. And for guys, it's your shoes or your watch. I think, I always tell people, build a wardrobe of classics and buy the best stuff you can afford. And then have fun with the accessories and get that stuff like at H&M or Zara. And that keeps it fresh.
Absolutely. You got to keep up with the trends now. It's definitely something that we all have to keep up with. Here's what I want to tell you. I told you this before we did our interview, but I really do look up to you and I'm such a big fan of yours.
Thank you so much.
No, really. And I've watched your career since you've started on RuPaul and everything. And I'm so thankful to call you a friend of mine now. And I feel like I've learned a lot from you. And I just want to know, what advice do you have for me as someone who wants to go into the entertainment industry?
Thank you for all of that. And I so appreciate it. And I love calling you a friend as well. I mean, I think the number one thing in showbiz, whether you want to be on camera or whether you want to be a producer, it's about resilience and it's about persistence. I was very, very lucky that the first thing that I did in showbiz was really successful. It was Queer Eye, and we got an Emmy like out of the gate. And it was insane, but that was just crazy timing because a lot of times that comes at the end of your career, not the beginning. There were many times where people would say, well, that was, you were great in that, but that's all there is. And like, you should probably like, sell real estate or do whatever. But you have to be persistent and you have to stay at the table. There was a great Emmys award speech by Henry Winkler, and he was the Fonz on Happy Days, which is way before your time.
I know that show, and I like it. My mom exposed me to all the shows, believe me.
Yeah. Well, that was like the number one like family, sitcom show, like in the 70s and 80s. It was a huge hit. And Henry Winkler was the star. So he was obviously like, a hot commodity in Hollywood. And then, as you get older and like roles are not as available or whatever, he had very early success, but he kept doing it and kept doing it. He never won an Emmy. And then I was at the Emmys, like, 2 years ago, and he won. And he said, if you sit at the table long enough, eventually the chips will come to you. So if you love it and your passion for it fuels your energy, you need to keep doing it because sometimes you get the chips and sometimes you don't, but you've got to stay at the table long enough for your turn. It's just a matter of odds, I guess. So I say, be persistent and stick around. And then the resilience part is that's something that even COVID has taught, I think, all of us. We just have to know that sometimes we can't always work in the way we're used to or the way that's comfortable. And we have to just be really ingenious and say, well, let's try this. and just be resilient enough to reinvent and try different things. I think that's really important too. And I think both of those things combined with hard work will get you wherever you want to go.
So I thought before we wrap things up, we could play a game. This is kind of the thing that I'm known for my channel. It's called Speed Round.
Okay, great.
So what we're going to do, I'm going to try and see how many questions you can answer within a minute. Okay? So let me know when you're ready. I will set the timer.
Okay, I think I'm ready.
Pancakes or French toast?
Oh, pancakes.
Your choice cocktail?
A martini.
What's the best dish you make?
Oh gosh, a hamburger.
Hamburgers. What's your must-have hair product?
Oh, I use like a thickening cream, and I don't know who makes it, but it's the best.
Favorite drag contestant?
Oh gosh, there's so many. I'm gonna say Trinity the Tuck Taylor.
Nice. Regular or electric toothbrush?
Regular, I'm old school.
Nice. Favorite designer?
Oh gosh, probably it's a tie, Ralph Lauren and Tom Ford.
Secret hobby?
Secret hobby. Oh, it's not really that secret. I love to collect antiques.
Oh, the time's up. Oh no.
Gosh, that went by so quickly. Okay, good. I try to be quick draw McGraw here for you.
Well, thank you so much for talking to me. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to say hello to the Amanda Exclusivo. I really appreciate it.
You're so welcome. Keep up the great work.
I will. Thank you so much, Carson. You're the best.
Of course. Okay, bye.